Today's episode is brought to you by the amazing people at DraftKings Sportsbook. You know, the NFL's official sports betting partner. Yes, indeed. Safe, secure, and reliable. And ladies and gentlemen, for the big game this weekend, they have something awesome going on, ladies. Yes. I'm talking about a super duper 56-1 odds on the big game. You bet $5, you'll win up to $280 in free bets. All you have to do is pick either the team from LA and they win, or the team from Cincinnati and they win. It is that simple. But, Deke, you got to use the promo code. And the promo code is MOATS. It is that simple. MOATS. You use that promo code, you put that bet in there, and you win it on the big game. Pooh-wee. Then after that, man, you listen to our advice and make you some more money.
I'm excited for some of these props for the big game.
Absolutely. So that's how it's going to be. And shout out to DraftKings. But we also know this. When you're making money or attempting to make money, sometimes that quest can be a little tough. Sometimes you could get lost.
You're chasing the purple dragon.
Yeah, you're chasing it and you can get lost on that road. You feel me? Mm-hmm. All I would say is this. If you happen to know someone with a gambling problem, maybe they need crisis counseling or referral services, and they're located in New York, they should probably just call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or HOPE-NY. Excuse me on that one. Once again, it's 877-8-HOPE-NY. All right? That's if you're located in New York. Now, Deke, if you're located anywhere else, you know what you need to do?
I'm not located in New York.
Well, you better call 1-800-GAMBLER. I say, you better call 1-800-GAMBLER. Pittsburgh Steelers did hire Frisman Jackson as their wide receiver coach, and he does come in with experience. Was it 13, 14 years, I believe it is, coaching experience.
All he does is wide receiver coach.
Yeah, exclusively, right? Yeah, and he's done that collegiately and at the NFL level. Been at Baylor. He obviously spent time in Carolina. The Carolina time was the part that's highlighted the most to me, because that under his tutelage, he had 2,000-yard receivers at the same time in terms of DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson during that time frame. But he's definitely had his go around in terms of being at multiple spots. And just for me, when I look at him, I see a guy that is qualified. I see a guy that for me, it's a little bit different than Ike Hilliard, because Ike had a very successful playing career as well. So I think that dynamic made it different for him. But with Coach Frizz.
Coach Frizz?
Maybe we'll go with that Coach Frizz.
Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze.
Which one is it? We don't know how it's pronounced yet.
I don't know just yet, but it sounds cool. Coach Frizz. All right. But either way, the thing that I do like is that he's qualified, that he is coming in with experience working in the NFL with multiple levels of receivers. Because when I think of the two guys that we currently have here, Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool, very similar to, maybe not in terms of productivity, but in terms of what we think they could become in terms of talent-wise, the DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson situation, where he had both of those guys, 1,000-yard receivers at the same exact time. We have two receivers that could definitely do that. I mean, and some can make the case they should have done that this year. Yeah. So with that, I do like that part, because we've seen the experience and we've already seen him be productive in terms of cultivating some of that talent.
I'm with it. I'm keeping Hilliard, getting rid of Hilliard, bringing this guy in. Mm-hmm. Based off last season, does any of it matter that much? If you got a chance to make an upgrade, or you think this guy's like a wide receiver coach guru, do it, because Claypool, as you mentioned, he should have made a step last year. Yeah. I don't know how much you could put it on these wide receiver coaches, though, at times. Yeah. Because even with DJ Moore, like, he had a 1,000-yard year before Coach Frizz even got that.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Robbie Anderson, he's been around 800-900 yards. So how much did he really help him? Mm-hmm. If we want to point to him doing that, I'm fine with it. With Hilliard at the helm last year, I'll just say the wide receiver talent was not up to par. The wide receiver production was not up to par with what we thought it should have been. So bringing in a new dude, here's why he was brought in, though. Do you want the real reason?
Talk about it. Let's go.
He's connected with Canada.
I know.
He was the wide receiver coach for him in a couple spots. So that's why he's really brought in.
But I'll also say this.
Here's my point. Are we saying last year with our receivers, Hilliard, oh, man, he's the reason Deontay had some of those drops. He's the reason like Claypool didn't develop.
Well, I would ask you this then. When we talk about O-lineman underperforming, I'm sure you were hollering about Adrian Clem. Were you not?
Not until we released him. To be honest with you, like he wasn't even on my mind.
All right, well, for you, maybe not. But a lot of people were hollering Adrian Clem's name. They weren't necessarily always focusing on specific players. It was like, man, who's the coach? We need Mike Munchak.
Right.
That's what people say. So I do feel like that part does matter, right? But going back to what you said about him in Carolina, the thing that, well, and I'll talk about our receivers here first, just to get that part done. I will say that for Ike, yeah, I think that the receiving group took a step back because, number one, Deontay still had the drop issues. This is 2 years in a row. Granted, they weren't as prevalent for the majority of the season, but towards the end, they definitely came back, and they definitely were an issue. When we think of Chase Claypool, do you feel like Chase took a significant jump this year compared to last year?
Here's my point. Like, there's got to be player responsibility.
No.
That's all.
Without a doubt, it definitely is. But all I'm saying is when we're talking about the specifics of development, and we can point to tangible things like drops.
Right,
we can point to tangible things like Chase Claypool's route tree, for example. Do we feel like he's developed further than a vertical, a slant, and a jet sweep or a bubble? Like, we know, or the little screen, like that's his route tree right now. To me, that part does fall a little bit on coaching. And even though we can get on the players, and we have, you do have to still have guys that can cultivate and develop those guys. So that's the only reason why I can understand, partly, obviously the connection is there for him in Canada, but at the same time, I can see them saying to themselves, going back to the Carolina thing, where they're like,
two young receivers.
It's like two young receivers, but also, what was the quarterback situation like in Carolina during that time frame?
McCaffrey being hurt, yeah.
So when you think about what our situation is right now, we don't have a franchise quarterback just yet. We know that our roster could be a little bit in flux offensively. So when you have a guy that has already dealt with a situation like this, but yet you still saw his receivers, they didn't take a step back.
Exactly.
And that's my thing.
That's the funniest thing.
They never took a step back.
That's what we're basing it off of. Because
but that's significant, though, when you think about, we saw our receivers this year, in a sense, take a step back.
Yeah, there's no tangible thing out there that says our receivers did better under Ike Hilliard.
Yeah.
That might not be all of his fault, though, because I can't blame the drops from Deontay on Ike Hilliard. Now, I don't know what Claypool's doing behind the scenes either.
I'm with you on that.
Because we talked about Ike Hilliard before he came here in a similar light as Mr.
Well, no, because I can tell you, I spent time with him in Buffalo as well. So it was not only just the Terry McLaurin, but I was like, I saw him work with Stevie Johnson. I saw that as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
went way past his expectations as a career.
Yeah, so it's like, I've seen, in terms of Ike, bounce around and have success in multiple spots. But when we're looking at just Pittsburgh only, and we're talking about the development of Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool for these past 2 years, there has been a little bit of an issue this past season. So, like I said, I'm with you. I'm not putting it solely on Ike, because it's not solely on Ike. The players have to do something. They got to prove. They got to improve and be more consistent.
Was trying too. You can tell he was out before the games, catching the tennis balls, and hours before. I don't know if he was doing anything after, but he was definitely putting in the work. I just can't really blame that on Ike Hilliard.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if he improved Deontay's route run, because he was getting open and stuff, but my whole thing with it, I think it is a good move. Ultimately, it's a good move.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's really an indictment on Ike Hilliard or anything. Okay. It's just that his contract's up. We didn't see significant improvement in our young receivers.
Yeah.
So there's an opening for us to replace you. Now, and we go with a guy, you're right. Two dudes out in Carolina, not the most optimal situation around him at receiver, and they were able to make things happen.
Now, how do you feel, though, about the reports that the receivers were not happy about the move in terms of the current stills on the roster? We were laughing because we was like, man, it's only like a couple of guys on the roster that, hold that type of weight.
Right. So Claypool and Deontay, I guess.
Like, which of the two was it?
Everyone else is free agents, right?
Right. Ray, Juju, James Washington. I'm trying to think who is still, there's not.
Kobe White, the dude we interviewed.
That's about it,
what do I think of it?
Mm-hmm. Are you at least concerned or anything?
I'm not surprised. There's coaches that you probably liked. They get rid of, or they move on from them. You're just upset a little bit.
Yeah,
that's just business. I don't think it's like the end of the world, because I think this dude, as soon as he walks in, he'll make a name for himself. He'll let them know, like, hey, I'm here to help you improve. We'll make it happen.
Okay,
that's all. I don't think it's a big deal at all.
Okay, yeah, I was agreeing. I don't really think it is either. We all get pissed when, that coach that you either really wanted to be there gets gone, or sometimes you get happy when the coach that you didn't want to be there gets fired. I've been on that train as well. I'm like, yes, got him. You know what I mean? It happens, but at the end of the day,
then
man,
you get a coach you like, but maybe he's not as good of a coach.
No, absolutely. But at the end of the day, man, once those guys get in there and it's day one, like football season, like we're all in here to work to get better, to win a championship, all of those feelings go out the window and it becomes we're singularly focused. And then from there, it's an audition. You instantly start with the level of respect, but from there it builds when you see and you're hearing from that coach, you're understanding that he knows what he's talking about and he has your best interest, and vice versa. When he sees that you're going to commit as a player and actually buy into what he's teaching you, then he'll trust you more. So that dynamic is normal, man. But yeah, I didn't put too much stock into those comments either.
So two things is he's been a solid receiver coach. We see his resume, but also I think a main part of him being here with Hilliard's contract being up. It's not like we fired him or anything.
Right.
Contract's up.
You know, Steelers don't fire coaches. You know how we do. We don't fire any. We would never fire a coach. That is not the Steeler way. Deke, come on now.
True. But with his contract being up and us bringing in a guy, this whole new era, I mean, Tomlin's all in on Canada. So that's I really think that's a big reason of us bringing him in over keeping Hilliard. Maybe there's certain techniques for the receivers with this offense. I don't know, but
you know, and the funny thing to me, I'm not even against it if that is the case.
No, I'm not either.
Because,
give him a chance.
And that's what we've been saying, right? If Matt Canada is the guy you really want to go with, if that's your guy, give him the absolute best chance to be successful. So if that means bringing in his guy at receiver, if that means, all right, he wants to draft this quarterback, you do whatever Matt Canada wants this year, right? So it's like, give him that opportunity, and we will see. We will know. It's not going to take long for us to know if he can do it or not. We'll figure that out. So I don't have an issue with that. Like you said, Coach Freeze, whichever one we're going to go with, he is qualified. And that, at the end of the day, that's kind of where I always draw that line. Is he qualified or not? You know, I don't care the relationship of, they work together. How qualified is he? He does have credentials.
Yeah, I saw him for the move.
Yeah, I like it. I
just don't think it's this huge thing to go crazy over, because last year with Hilliard, we were saying probably the exact same thing we are with Freeze. Just with this one, he's got the Canada connection now.
And I was going to say that I think the difference last year was I could just vouch for Ike on a personal level versus with Frizz. It's just like, all right, we know we got the Canada connection, and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
He had success with Carolina, whereas with Hilliard, had success with McLaurin. You brought up the Bills stuff. So, there's the development of young players in both of them, but we just got to see Hilliard a season with the Steelers, so that probably bumped his stock a little bit down.
Oh, without
I wasn't
a doubt,
even
man.
thinking about our receivers coach, to be honest with you.
Well, I wasn't either until I noticed that they hired Frizz, and I was like, well, what's going on here?
Yeah, I was like, did we fire the guy that we had? Oh, no, his contract was just for 1 year. Now it makes me think a little bit more as I'm spinning my wheels here. 1 year for Hilliard. They were planning this the whole time. They had Coach Frizz on the speed dial or something.
And they had
early
Canada.
Off-season.
They said, Canada, we're going to bring you back for 2 years. Okay? We can get you a 2-year deal.
Yeah. Coach Frizz, just do 1 year down in Carolina. We'll get that offense humming like we did back in college.
You know how we do. Hey. You know that? Hey, you remember that jet sweep? Oh, yeah. Oh, does it come with the bubble screen? Oh, it does. Man, you know, sign me up, Coach. You know, I love coaching my receivers to run that jet sweep, baby. You know that now.
Maybe he's, you know what? This is a low-key thing. Maybe he's going to teach him how to block better, too, because that was something we were definitely critical of our receivers.
Absolutely. Okay.
Maybe that's one thing Hilliard wasn't teaching him this year.
Fair enough.